Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People, giving you today's recap. Cleveland Browns were in town for a joint practice, along with, yes, Shedeur Sanders and Bryce Young as well for the Carolina Panthers. But before we get into the big recap, quick favor, please continue to subscribe to the channel. We're approaching that 13,000 mark. Every subscription helps us to do what we love to do, which is get unique Panthers content for you. And the bigger we grow, the more that we can do. So I encourage you to do that if you are enjoying the content. And if you've already subscribed, just hit the like button. That'll help other Panther fans find out about the channel. So we're going to dive into it. But before we get into the details of today's recap, which we'll do player interviews, and then we'll go through my play-by-play that I break down for you guys. I want to tell you the biggest news from today. Most important I want to start with is J.C. Horn was involved in a minor accident right outside of the stadium. Seems like it was, right before they would turn in to come to the facilities. He was involved in an accident, had to get stitches on, I believe Coach said, his left thumb. And so he's going to be day-to-day. He will not be practicing. He will not be playing this Friday versus the Cleveland Browns, which they initially wanted to do. Coach Dave Canales, in regards to that, wants the starters this Friday to play. If a perfect world, 8 to 10 plays, but what he's going to do is just see how it goes. If the first series is a 3 and out, then they'll obviously come back for a second series. But if that first series is pretty long, gets him the number of plays that he's looking at, then they will be done for the day. But in regards to that, J.C. Horn will not be playing this Friday night versus the Cleveland Browns. They do hope, and I think it's a very good chance that he'll be back in time for the Houston game next Saturday. And keep it locked here, Charlotte Vibe, for all of your Carolina Panthers pre-game, post-game, and in-game coverage, as we will be covering all the games live this season thanks to your support. So let's go ahead and get into a few things. Let me first say, Knucklehead K, what's going on to you? One of our members here. Did I hit the right button? I did not hit the right button. If you are a member, you always get some special love and recognition when you come onto the channel. So there you go, a little round of applause for our member, Knucklehead K there. Hope all is well. LOL, hope you were able to stay dry today. Don't know if it's raining back home or not. So here's the deal with the rain. So I live in the Cabarrus County area, and I woke up this morning getting ready for the game, for practice today. I mean, it was raining hard, just like big drops. So I'd already decided yesterday that I was going to bring 2 pairs of pants, 2 pairs of socks, and 2 pairs of shoes. And guess what happened? It wasn't a beautiful day in the sense that the sun wasn't out, but in terms of no rain, it was a beautiful day. Stopped raining before practice and started drizzling a little bit after practice. So Knucklehead K, appreciate you very much. No rain today, even though I was prepared. And look at this. Not only is she a member, but she also gave us a super chat. Says, hey, help me out, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. So I would appreciate you guys when you're able to do that. So, and what's up, Jay the Sick? Let me go ahead and read that. I'll be nice. I'll read it. It looks like we walked them dogs today. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me start with head coach Dave Canales and his take on how the offense did today. So again, I'm going to cue up this Dave Canales video. And again, if you haven't heard before, like when I'm in the stadium, there's some problem with me getting files from the team. So I have to play this through YouTube. So it takes me a few clicks to get it to you. But hold on for a moment, and we're going to display Dave Canales giving his take on practice today. And just for the record, I, like Dave Canales, only watched the offense today. I did sometimes go to the other field to watch the defense, but the challenge with it was we're in the goal line. They're basically on the other side of the field at the 30, and then they're going away from us. So it's like extremely hard to watch it. So I just stayed focused on watching the offensive side of the ball. But let me go ahead and cue this up for you guys. Again, this will be Dave Canales on practice today.
Millen had a drop. Yeah. Take us through your assessment of the offense.
Yeah, the first couple of drills, I think the first team period, I was excited about the execution. I was excited about the physicality of it. Some of our play actions we were able to hold up, which can get a little funky, with different fronts. It's a different defense, than what we've been playing all camp. So that's a challenge. But I loved the run game, loved how we moved it. And then the second team period, it got sloppy. We weren't throwing flags. We had I think 3 delay of games and 2 false starts. We can't have that. You know, we're going to put ourselves in really bad spots, you know, when we're putting ourselves in 1st and 15, you know, and or if it's a 3rd and 6 and we have a false start, you know, all of a sudden it's 3rd and 11, you know, and makes it really hard. You know, now you're in the 20% or less, you know, conversion zone. So I think that's something that just from what I saw, you know, I was very excited about the physicality. I was very excited about the execution after the snap, pre-snap. These kind of opportunities really shine light on what you need to work on. And so
there you have Dave Canales. Give me just a second to get back to me on the screen here. So, yeah, there you have Dave Canales' take on practice today. Again, he only watched the offensive side. He said Ivero gave him a little fist bump, said things went well. He will not know and be able to talk about that defensive part until he watches some film. So I'm going to go through the play-by-play so you will have your own opportunity to determine how practice went today. Again, mostly from the offensive standpoint that we were able to watch, was not able to watch much of the defense. I already gave you the update on J.C. Horn, Claude and Sherrillis. He did leave practice early today with a little gimpy walk. Coach reported that he's going to be evaluated for a growing injury. And yeah, so that's it from head coach Dave Canales. So we're also now going to move over to Bryce Young. I see a few others have logged in. B Stallion, what's up? Appreciate you tuning in to us. And then Hudson Bruce. It looks like they're ready for some football. Yes, just 2 days away from football here in this very stadium. A Friday night game, Friday Night Lights at the pro level here in Carolina coming up pretty shortly with the Cleveland Browns. So Bryce Young took the podium today, and he targeted Tetairoa McMillan several times today. Was it intentional? Was it just how it works out? You know, Coach likes to say the ball just finds energy. So what was the case with T-Mac and all of his receptions today? I'm going to cue this clip for you in just a split second. And then, again, we'll go into my play-by-play for 7-on-7, team drills, and also special teams today. So just un momento, por favor. Bryce Young on his connections today with Tetairoa McMillan.
There was a play in team where it seemed like y'all were on different pages, but then the next play you went right back to him, same play. How have you seen him kind of respond to those moments where, you know, it'd be easy to get frustrated but have to go straight on?
Yeah, T-Mac's done a great job, and really, I'm super grateful the entire receiver room has that.
All right, that was not the mark that I wanted to play for you guys. So give me just a second. I think I need to just back it up 1 minute. So sorry about that. I think I need to back it up just a little bit. Give me a second. Let me see if I think it's more like right around here.
A lot today. Is that just a natural thing, or is Dave and Brad scheming him open? Like, where is y'all's connection coming from?
Yeah, so sorry for that little live TV mess up, but here is now Bryce Young talking about the number of times that he was connecting with Bryce Young today, and if that was intentional, just the way it was called, or his take on it.
Yeah, just wanted to do what we can to take advantage of what the defense gives. I have all the confidence in the world in him and the rest of the receiving core. You know, it's going to be today, you know, he probably got a few more targets, and, you know, there's been practices where it's been him, it's been Adam, Eggs, Jay, whatever it may be, all the way down. So that's how it went today. You know, we want to make sure that we can do whatever's best for the team, again, take advantage of what the defense gave us. So that's just how it happened to be today.
So there's Bryce on the connection with T-Mac today, saying it's just how it happened today. But I think that it was a little intentional, and I think it should be intentional. He's a first-round draft pick, seemingly a guy that this team is high on and, you know, has potential for being a nice, tall target, good moves, large catch radius, good hands, has had, admittedly, some struggles so far as a rookie. So why not give the rookie more intentional opportunities in joint practice where he gets to see someone else? You know, J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson have been playing press or up close on him a lot this training camp, trying to get him ready for things. So, you know, the coach didn't say this is just Chris Jenkins' take on it. Yeah, be intentional. Give your first-round draft pick, especially if you believe in him, especially if you feel like he has a lot of potential. Give him some extra reps in a joint practice. So that was Bryce Young's take on it, though, in terms of the joint practice today. He said it was good to be united for once and practice, because naturally it just becomes offense versus defense when you're practicing against yourself all the time. And he said it before, even though we're the one team, but today was a time, an opportunity to really experience that a little bit more, where it's like, okay, yeah, we're the complete Carolina Panthers against the complete Cleveland Browns. It's not offense versus defense. So he said it was good to feel that united feeling today. And also when asked, hey, did you give Shedeur any advice today? And he said, not really. He's obviously been doing good to get to this level where we are now, so I don't think I needed to give him any advice. That's me paraphrasing what he said. And he went on to say, I think we're probably also the same age, so a little weird, but nevertheless, it was cool to see the young talent Bryce Young on the same field, even though we didn't get to see him exactly on the same field, because offense was on what I would describe as to my right field, and then the defense was on what I would call as my left-hand side of the field. So nevertheless, what's going on, Jay Norman? 2025 will be good and a positive season. So, yeah, I've said this before. I like to present the facts for you to decide for yourself. But so far, I think there's plenty of reasons to be optimistic about this Carolina Panthers team in 2025, from the fact of having stability from the coaching staff, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and head coach are all still here. You have your quarterback that's the same. You have more players that have been in the system. Now you certainly have your additional players through the draft and through undrafted free agents. But I think it's a good thing to be building on here in Carolina, and I really like the man that's at the top, the head coach, Dave Canales, in doing so. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready to go through this play-by-play. And my disclaimer that I always give when I get ready to go through the play-by-play, I'm going to go a little fast because there's so many plays to go through. I'm not going to read it like an auctioneer. But for those who want to hear something over, just slow the voice down or just hit the replay. But I just want to make sure I go through it and also give you some extra description to it when there's an opportunity to do so. So let's start with 7-on-7. Bryce Young with a completion to Adam Thielen. Next play, Bryce Young with a completion to Jalen Coker. Not only was it a completion, this is 7-on-7. So when I describe the 7-on-7 and I talk about a touchdown, it's not like it was a bomb 40-yard play, run after the catch kind of deal. 7-on-7 is generally from about the 20 or the 30-yard line that they're running those plays towards the end zone. But Bryce Young connected to Jalen Coker for a touchdown. Cleveland Browns were in position to stop and make a play on that. The Cleveland Browns were not so much in a position to make a play. He wasn't wide open, but he was relatively open, untouched, going down the seam for that touchdown from Bryce Young. Next play, Bryce gets the ball out pretty quickly, hits Xavier Legette across the middle. The Browns were noticeably punching at the ball a lot. No reaction from the offensive players as the Browns were aggressive with going for the ball, knocking out. And I think credit head coach Dave Canales for emphasizing that I want physicality. And that's kind of the same thing that we have been seeing from, Panthers versus Panthers. So I kind of thought at first myself, like, oh, he's going to get pissed off. Because, it was like any guy until he got to the end zone, even if he was like almost walking, would just sprint over, try to knock the ball out. But again, I think that's something that the coaches wanted to see, asked for, and said, hey, don't respond to the guy. This is something I want you guys to be prepared for. So in my opinion, good coaching on the part of Dave Canales there. Andy Dalton then comes in, has an incompletion to 84. I think he dropped this one because he heard footsteps, because he should have brought this ball in by all accounts. Andy Dalton then with an incomplete pass to Xavier Legette. In my notes, I wrote that this was a miscommunication or something, because it just didn't seem right. And if you watch football, you know what I mean by that. It was just didn't seem exactly right. So they then went on to special teams. Cleveland Browns were up first in returning the ball. And on one of those plays, Carolina Panthers did a good job of busting the wedge. I didn't convert the number, I'm sorry, but number 40 did a good job busting the wedge, getting through, giving a nice little pop on the Cleveland Browns returner. And there were lots of penalties, actually, during the special teams period. Lots of lineup penalties, lots of holding penalties on both sides of the ball. So preseason, I guess that's where the most penalties can occur, because you got a lot of guys that are, trying to make a team. A lot of young talent on there, don't know all the NFL rules and procedures to the T yet. So maybe look for some sloppiness on special teams, especially the kickoff for Friday night. But, that's why we have the joint practices to get these things worked out. Trevor Etienne, he actually dropped his return for the Carolina Panthers. But the good thing about it was he was in the end zone when that happened. So no harm, no foul there on that drop kickoff return by Trevor Etienne. After that, they went back into 7-on-7 where Bryce Young connected to Shedeur Sanders. He attempted to Shedeur Sanders, was not able to bring that one in. But it was not due to anything from Bryce or Shedeur. It was just a really, really good pass breakup by number 21 of the Cleveland Browns, getting in there, getting a hand on the ball, knocking it out of JT's hands. Bryce Young then attempted a pass to Adam Thielen, and prior to completing the wrap, Thielen, I guess, feet got tangled up. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw Adam falling, and typically that means he would have slipped, and it didn't look like a fall due to a slip. It looked like a fall. That would have been because feet got tangled. Adam fell to the ground. There was no flag on the play, so it could have been just some incidental contact with the Cleveland Browns defender on that play. Bryce Young then attempts a pass to Shedeur McMillan, and he was defended by 35 of the Cleveland Browns. So sometimes I like to try to give you guys a little demonstration, so I'm going to do that on this one. So from my standpoint, he's running right to left. So Shedeur is running like this, defended closely by the guy right here. So Bryce, I don't know if it's by design or what, but he threw it like not back shoulder, but he threw it about right here. So T-Mac had to reach back to try to catch that ball, got two hands on it, wasn't able to bring it in. Coach Dave Canales said after that play that him and Bryce looked at each other like, oh, that was so close, as if to say, and they said they have full confidence that Shedeur will get that, but just felt like that was a new type of pass and chemistry that they're getting of all the different places that Bryce could put the ball that Shedeur could get to, and the defender can't, that he just needs to get to. So they weren't like, oh, dang, he messed it up. Just like, we probably just need to continue to work with the younger guy, which is why, again, I say, Chris Jenkins says, I do believe all the targets to Shedeur today were intentional, because it's just a really good opportunity to get this guy some more looks. Bryce Young then with a bullet pass to Xavier Legette. Andy Dalton comes in, connects with David Moore on a short, quick pass, and then there's another completion to Adam Thielen on a short route to the outside. And then there was looks like this was Dalton to Shedeur McMillan. Attempted a one-handed catch as he was going to push the defender down to try to make this play. So what happened here, again, trying to demonstrate for you guys, he's running down the sideline. He's looking over his right shoulder. No, I'm sorry, this was the left shoulder. He's running the sidelines here. He's looking over his left shoulder. He kind of uses one hand to push the defender down, used the other hand to go up for the ball to make the one-handed catch. Wasn't able to do it. He actually ended up knocking the defender down. Shedeur did. Don't know if in a real game they would have called a push-off, because to me, you could push off, but when a guy goes to fall, that's when you're more likely to get that flag called against you. But nevertheless, still like that he's just trying different things, getting different tools in his bag to make these contested catches over smaller defenders and get to the ball. So, and he said before, I don't try to do one-handed catches just to do it. I do it because I needed to. So I certainly see the validity in that today on that attempt where he used one hand to fend off the defender and the other hand to try to catch the ball. And it was a high ball, so he would have had to struggle trying to do it just with two hands. But nevertheless, give you some details there on the Shedeur incompletion, but nice attempt to make the completion. Bryce Young then with an incomplete pass to Jalen Coker. This ball was low and in the ground, so Jalen really did not have an opportunity to catch that one. Bryce Young then connects with Shedeur McMillan on a slant, bobbing it a little bit. Just being picky with the rookie, giving you guys some analysis on it, but he did hold on to it and that was a TD. Teterow had a defender all over him, so that was good from him in that regards in terms of focusing, bringing that ball in, and catching that touchdown pass from Bryce. Bryce Young then with a completion to number 43. There was a flag on the play. Give me just 1 second. Just want to verify my notes here really quickly. I need to wear my glasses sometimes so I can see this a little bit easier. All right, so Andy Dalton had to throw the ball away on one play. There was a penalty on the defense for that. I don't know if it was a false start, which might have been why he got flushed out of the pocket and had to throw the ball away so quickly. Next play, Andy Dalton with a completion to Mitchell. Seemed like there would have been holding called on that play in which Mitchell made that reception. But nevertheless, touchdown. Didn't have two hands, want to raise the mic. But nevertheless, that was a touchdown from Andy Dalton to Mitchell coming across the middle in the end zone. Nice play and catch by those two. Bryce Young then comes in, hands off to Chuba Hubbard. He had nowhere to go on this particular play. Next play, Bryce Young is in a shotgun. And he threw the ball to another place where I'm like, was this a miscommunication? Because I really don't know who the intended target was, because it didn't look like the receiver got, held up by being bumped or any kind of press coverage or anything like that. It, like, got knocked off his route. But Bryce kind of just threw the ball in this dead space. All right, nearest receiver on that play was Xavier Legette. Next play, Bryce Young throws complete to Teterow McMillan, who was wide open, caught that ball on the outside. Next play, Bryce is in the shotgun, hands off to Rico Dowdle up the middle. A little minor pushing and shoving again. There were no fights today. There were a few moments where things flared up a little bit, but no fights today, which is a good thing. Coaches want you to play physical, want you to play on the edge. This is a game with a lot of testosterone, so they know that that's going to happen, but just doesn't want any big melees to take place. And none of that happened today. There was one point where it could have been, but it didn't go there. Next play, Andy Dalton with an incomplete pass to Xavier Legette on a deep out. Now, this ball should have been intercepted. Not that I wanted it to be, but I say it should have been intercepted because it hit number 26 of the Cleveland Browns right in the breadbasket. He was kind of falling down as he went to make this interception, didn't get it, but Xavier certainly didn't have as good of an opportunity to make a play on the ball as the defender did, because the ball wasn't in a good enough location for him on that particular play. Next play, Andy Dalton with a handoff to Trevor Etienne. He had nowhere to go on this one. And then shotgun Andy Dalton to Jimmy Horn. It was behind him and ended up being intercepted. So I'll give Jimmy Horn Jr. credit, because as soon as the ball was intercepted, he didn't, Jimmy was running this way. It was thrown behind him. He could have kind of just kept running it off like, oh, darn, I was, in full speed on my route. But no, Jimmy immediately stopped, turned around, and tackled the defender, and then tried to strip the ball away from him, so much so that, teams had to separate him. Not separate him as in like, oh, this is about to be a fight, but he kept fighting for trying to get that ball back from the Cleveland Browns defender. So one thing I am liking and noticing about Jimmy Horn Jr. is that he's playing plays all the way through, whether it's, this past Saturday at Fan Fest where he's back there trying to return a kick or a punt, and it's a trick play, and he just hauls butt trying to chase down the defender, makes it just in the nick of time to stop that. Or like today when there's an interception, and he could have easily kept running a few steps, but he immediately stopped as quick as he showed his athletic ability to change directions. Went back, made the tackle. Not only did he make the tackle, he tried to strip the ball away to get the ball back for his team. So Jimmy Horn Jr. doing everything that he can to make this roster, and I like it. I'm here for it. Andy Dalton with a completion to number 46 going across the middle, and then we're going to get into a team session. So let's go into team. Before I go into team, let me check the comments really quickly, see if you guys have any big things that stand out. All right, lots of comments. Keep them coming. No members yet with a comment. No super chat, so we'll continue to work through this. Shouts out to Six Man Music. Appreciate your Six Man Music. Says big fan of the show. Thank you for your support. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Help us get to 20,000 subscribers. I promise you, there'll continue to be great things that happen as we do it. And really, sincerely, the big reason that I ask is as I go to do stuff, hey, I want this player, I want that player, I want this coach. No doubt, when they know that there's 20,000 people out there that's going to watch, it's a lot easier to get that interview. And the players are even more enthused when they know that their great interviews will be heard and the time that they've taken out will be widely seen. So subscribe if you have a chance to. Six Music fan, thank you very much for your comments. Let's go back to this play-by-play, and now we're going to go through the team period. Bryce Young is in a shotgun. Play action pass. Dumps this one off to Shedeur Sanders. Bryce Young completes a short pass to Xavier Legette. Bryce Young then with a completion to David Moore. Bryce Young with a handoff to Rico Dowdle. Jack Plummer comes in with a play action. Jack Plummer, and I give Jack some credit too for trying to stay ready. This guy, every single day, he's running laps back and forth when he's not back there quarterbacking, and know it's Andy or Bryce going. He's just running, trying to keep the blood circulating, keep the heart going, and be ready for when his number's called. But Jack with a play action completion to Raheem Blackshear. Bryce then comes back in and the shotgun hands off to Chuba Hubbard. Bryce Young in the shotgun. They had trips left on this particular play, and he completes this one to Shedeur McMillan. So if you've not known, it hadn't stuck out to you a lot, I have said Shedeur McMillan a lot today because he did have quite a few targets. Bryce Young is in the shotgun, complete to Jalen Coker, and I have said Jalen Coker several times today. So I know at one point there was like, hey, what's going to happen with Jalen Coker? Will the undrafted guy continue to make it? Yeah, he's continuing to do well for himself. He's continued to do very well for himself. Not to mention he's making himself useful because I've been seeing him on special teams. So if you can play on special teams and you are very good at your position, even though you're not, the first three of that rotation, that bodes well because I'm going to need you at one spot, right? I'm either going to need you for some depth on the wide receiver part during the game, but I certainly will need you on special teams. And special teams players have a lot of flexibility and need for a team on a Sunday. So Jalen Coker looking like he's going to solidify his spot on this roster once again. Trying to figure out where I just left off in my notes. All right, Bryce Young in the shotgun. No one was open. This only happened once today. So that's pretty good in terms of, in practice against our own defense, there was many more times that I'd see Bryce Young or Andy Dalton having to run for their lives or having to run the ball out or having cover sacks, right? I only saw that, I think, one time from Andy today and just one time from Bryce today. You know it's going to happen in the game, so it's not like, oh, my gosh, it happened. There's a problem. No, it happened only one time today. And this is with the Cleveland Browns defense that has a really, really good line. And a guy by the name of Myles Garrett, if you hadn't heard of him, which I believe is the highest paid player at his position. I say believe because I know there's been so many players this offseason that have, is the highest paid player, and then it seems like the next day you get another guy that's the highest paid player. But Myles Garrett is definitely a force to be reckoned with. And I don't have notes that he was really doing much today. But I will say footnote, joint practice, they don't want anybody hitting the quarterback. But let's continue to run through this. Andy Dalton comes in the shotgun, quick pass, hits Jimmy Horn Jr. So we've said Jimmy Horn Jr. a lot today. We've said Jalen Coker. We've said Xavier Legette. We've also said Shedeur McMillan. All right. Andy Dalton would have been sacked, still attempted to hit Adam Thielen, but he was out of bounds in the end zone, so that was an incompletion to Adam Thielen from Andy Dalton. And then we had Andy Dalton with a handoff to David Moore. No. Why did I write Hanty? Okay, so sorry, read my notes wrong. So Andy Dalton did have a handoff, but on this play I noticed David Moore and 26 of the Cleveland Browns just like still engaged and blocking each other after the play. And I thought that was going to be a moment where we have some chippiness and may turn into some guys going down to the ground and some extracurriculars, but a teammate came in, broke them up, and they both jogged off the field, so no harm on that one. Next play was Andy Dalton in the shotgun, hit Bryson Tremaine for his first TD of practice, and then shotgun trips left. Chuba out of the backfield was hit with a pass, and then Chuba in 28, I forget the guy's name off the Cleveland Browns, but they were kind of like chopping back at each other, and then Chuba handed him the ball. I guess that's a thing that defenders don't like, because after Chuba handed him the ball, he followed Chuba back into the huddle and waited for a point. You saw him wind up like, I know he's not going to throw the ball. And sure enough, he threw the ball and hit Chuba in the back of the head with it, and that's the closest we got to a big melee at practice today. Certainly got some guys came in, grabbed them. There were no punches thrown, nobody thrown to the ground, anything crazy, but you got to think like, come on, dude. You throw a ball at another player and you hit him in the back of the head, you're really going to, might have to defend yourself after that happened. He did have to defend himself, but it didn't become anything that was out of control. So that's a positive thing. Moving on, Bryce Young with a handoff to Chuba after that play. Bryce Young with a handoff to Rico Dowdle, and then Bryce in the shotgun incomplete to Xavier Legette. Jack Plummer comes in, hands off to 39, and then Jack Plummer ends the day with touchdown pass numero 2 to wide receiver Bryson Tremaine for a TD. So Bryson had 2 touchdowns today. So that's something that might get you on the practice squad. You repeat that effort come this Friday or come next Saturday against Houston, and you might move up a little bit on the depth chart and, again, have at least an opportunity to make the practice squad. So that's my play-by-play for today from 7-on-7 and team drills. So Bryce Young certainly had a decent, respectable day today with his connections to various players, mainly Tedero McMillan being his number 1 target, and then Tedero McMillan, having a big day today with the number of targets that he had. I should have calculated the total before I came online. I forgot to do it, but it was a lot. And he showed body control on a lot of these attempts with, pushing the player down, going for it with one hand, didn't bring it in. But certainly it's just a matter of repetitions, right? If the guy is making these moves and he's not even getting close, you're a lot further away. But T-Mac and everything that he's doing, though that he's having some learning curves and some things that he has to get used to, he's still close, right? So the ball just off the fingertips on that one, the one that was behind him a little bit where Dave Canales and Bryce looked at each other like, oh, we're going to get that one. Again, he got both hands on the ball, just didn't bring it all in. So Tedero is getting in the reps that he needs. He has the right attitude because a lot of his players and coaches say this guy's willing to learn. He listens. He doesn't just out there and just say, I got it. He asks, he listens, he pays attention, and he wants to get better. So some positive things you're seeing from Tedero as well as Xavier Legette, getting plenty of looks. Yeah. So those are all my notes from today. Appreciate everybody for watching. Let's see if we had any super chats or anything like that to stand out. I don't see any. So let me just see if there's a question or two on here before I get out of here. And actually, I think I have a picture or two that I can share with you guys. Give me just a second. Yeah, we'll show a few pictures. Now, these are just my pictures. We do have the best photographer in the game. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not hyping him up. We're going to post his pictures later today, mostly on Instagram. So our Instagram handle is Charlotte Vibe. See lots of pictures that are professional and even much more awesome than these that I'm going to show you. But I just want to show you a few photos from today. Here you'll see Chuba Hubbard, Andy Dalton. If you're looking right there in the center of that picture, Chuba Hubbard, Andy Dalton, and Deontay Johnson, who is now with the Cleveland Browns, in this picture right here. And then I think I got another photograph that I want to share with you guys. Give me a split second. Let's see. One second. I think I have one more photograph that I can share with you guys. Yeah, I know I got the legend here that I want to show you guys. Now, this photo is not properly, it's not the right proportion, but you'll still appreciate it when I show it to you. Wait for it. Boom. There you go. You have, of the NFL Network, that guy in the center, Panthers legend, Steve Smith. And then the guy to his right also works for the NFL Network, Cameron Wolfe, right there in that picture as well. And then we're going to have a bonus for you. I'm going to share with you guys one more photograph before I get out of here. Give me just a second. And this picture will be a professional picture, so you will definitely notice the quality difference here when I show you this picture. This was taken by our photographer, Patrick Snyder, a.k.a. the best photographer in the game, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe. I'm so thankful to have him. Here you go. A rare moment that these two were actually close enough together to get in the same frame, but this is our third-year quarterback, Bryce Young, first-year quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, today here in Charlotte, and they will both be on the field this Friday night at 7 p.m. as the Carolina Panthers take on the Cleveland Browns in their preseason opener. So, hey, lots of support today. I love it. I appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. You have a friend in the media now. If you're new, welcome. My name is Chris Jenkins. I'd love to continue to have you here, answer any questions that you may have regarding this Carolina Panthers team. We'll cover this team every step of the way. We'll be in Houston. We'll be back here when we play Pittsburgh. We'll be on the road for the first game against Jacksonville, then the next game there. And we do a pregame show and postgame show live from the stadiums, okay? And we interact with you. So there's no other outlet that does that except for us. So hopefully that's enough to get your interest and potentially earn your subscription. Tell a friend. Become a member. We're independent media, 100% supported by you. No big checks coming in. So if you want to see us do more and you're liking what we're doing, you're able to support, super chats, memberships, they're all welcome. That'll be it for today's show. I'm going to enjoy my day off tomorrow before we come back Friday night for the game. Pre-game show, set your reminders, set your alerts. I haven't scheduled it yet, but we will do our pre-game show Friday to get you prepared for that game. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Chris Jenkins, reporting live from Bank of America Stadium for Charlotte Vibe.